Divided attention is one of the most serious problems that people with brain injury have. You've had very little divided attention problems today. You and I have been talking, and your wife's walked through once or twice, and we've taken breaks, which can be distracting. But you're handling this cognitive task extremely well, as do almost everybody I interview does. Is there a level of distraction that starts to make it hard for you?
Sometimes, like when you were talking to her, I got thinking, I was listening to you guys talk, but then I got thinking about other issues, and so I missed half of what you were talking about. That'll happen when I'm having a conversation with you. You'll ask a question and it says Dynex on the stand, and that's distracting me, and now I'm wondering never heard of Dynex. And
as
then
soon
I
as you
forget
start,
what your question was.
and as soon as you start to look for distractions, you find more.
Yeah.
In general, this conversation, you haven't been distracted. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
For the most part, yeah.
The air conditioning sound doesn't bother you,
No.
but you're used to that.
Yeah.
Conversation, as soon as you add one more person to the dynamic and make it a three-way conversation, and you have to listen more, becomes more difficult.
Yeah. To me, it's like trying to multitask, let's do two things at once if there are more than one person to communicate with. In a group of people, yeah, there's conversations going on, separate conversations going on. It's like, do I pay attention to that one? Do I pay attention to that one? And it is strange.
Is it easier for you to focus if you're doing the majority of the talking like you are today?
I guess.
Can you give me an example?
I have no idea. I honestly don't know.
Talking is a multi-sensory, multi-muscular activity. You have to think. You have to decide what you're going to say. You have to listen, and then you have to speak. But the speaking part involves your activating more of your nervous system than listening does, which would, while it's more attentionally demanding in a sense, it also has a tendency to bring your attention into a specific focus. Can you see any of that?
No.
Okay.
Like that, what you just said to me just kind of went.
And the longer my questions, the harder it is for you to follow them?
Yeah. Because so now you ask, okay, you just asked 3 questions in your conversation with me. I was focused. Now I'm totally focused on the first question. And I'm like, oh shit, he's asking another question. Now I forgot the first question. Now I'm trying to think, well, what was the first question? Oh crap, now he just added a third. So yeah, so that's why at the end I just said, look, you just said way too much.
If you were a computer, you could only take a 5K of information in at a time. And if you got past that, you would exceed your RAM.
Yeah.
Do you have any feel for what that quantity of information is?
No clue.
But somewhere in the long question versus the short question, I start to exceed it.
Yeah.
More than a sentence at a time.
I think, yeah, a couple of sentences I'm like, okay, slow down.
Okay. How much would it help for me to actually talk slower, or is it really the number of words?
I'd say the number of words is worse. The speed, I think you could speed up, but slowing down would be like, okay, come on, get to the point. I'd be like an attorney.
You're from Boston, you talk fast.
Yeah, that too.